Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayana Chaiva Narayana Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Nishtaprayeshu Bhagaveshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtike Sadanandana Sharakaya Chakshurutam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanyanam Statitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Namalam Dadati Swapadam Pitam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavischa Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajeevam Sadhaitam Savadvitam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Ramaneshwari Vishidhanu Sute Devi Tanmani Hare Priye Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripasindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Subhaktara Rasi Haridim Today's chapter Shukra Krishna Vishnu Vedanta Swami Punani Namaste Saraswati Devi Bhavani Pachari Nirvisham Shri Achalam Poguni Gauti Guru Mukti Bandi Shri Guru Dinataram. So we are reading chapter 15, text 16. Avino Purusholoke Sharascha Shara Shara Sarvani Bhutani Utastho Shara Uchate. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. In the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. All right. So we have discussed this text 15, which was very, very important. Very important. And we can't discuss this again. But now this one also, this is very like the Vedantic section. So you can read this.
As all purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, as already explained, the Lord in His incarnation as Vyasadeva compiled the Vedanta Sutra. Here the Lord is giving in summary the contents of the Vedanta Sutra. He says that the living entities who are innumerable can be divided into two classes, the fallible and the infallible. The living entities are eternally separated parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When they are in contact with the material world, they are called Jiva Bhuta. And the Sanskrit words given here, Kshara Sarvani Bhutani, mean that they are fallible. Those who are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead however, are called infallible. Oneness does not mean that they have no individuality, but that there is no disunity. They are all agreeable to the purpose of the creation. Of course, in the spiritual world, there is no such thing as creation. But since in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra, is the source of all emanations, that conception is explained. According to the statement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord,
Shikala, just wait.
yeah,
Let's look
yeah,
at
yes.
right. So here, so there are two classes of beings. One is fallible and one is infallible. All right. So the Jeev, they are fallible. All right. Chuta. But they can become a chuta. How?
By being oneness with the Supreme Personality.
What does that mean?
It doesn't mean, हाँ, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि भगवान में मर्ज हो जाना, वो नहीं. वननेस मतलब भगवान के साथ मिल जाना नहीं, लेकिन भगवान के धाम वापस जाने की कोशिश करना. मैं जितना समझ पाई.
When will they go back to Krishna? When?
जब वो भगवान को जानने की कोशिश करेंगे.
No, read here.
The living entities are eternally separated part and parcel of the. ऐसे तो हाँ, मतलब उसका मतलब कि हम भगवान के ही अंश हैं, लेकिन भगवान के ही अंश हैं, लेकिन हम इस भौतिक जगत में आके भगवान
Take pen and paper. Okay, write it in your notebook. All right. When my question is, when do we become infallible? We become infallible.
Those who are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead are, however, are called infallible.
Yeah. Why do they become infallible? What is it about?
अच्छा, क्योंकि हम खुद भगवान बनने की कोशिश करते
No,
हैं.
no, just read here. I'm not going outside of this paragraph. Prabhupada tells us. When there is no disunity between us and Krishna.
Yes, that
then,
I forgot. Yes,
then
oneness does not. But
right?
there is
When there is no
disunity
between the Jeev and Krishna, then we also become infallible. Right? So let's look at the verse again. Dvav imo purusho loke. Sharas shakshara. Okay? So Shara means fallible, Cha and Akshara infallible. Right? Eva Cha. Shara Sarvani Bhutani. So fallible. Sarva Bhutani, all living being. Kutastha in oneness, Akshara infallible each other. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living being is fallible. Okay, Shara. And in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. All right. So in the spiritual world, everybody is Akshara. All right. Not fallen. Fallen because they're in total unity with Krishna. They're not at all in disunity with Krishna. So they become one. So here says that Kutasto in oneness. So Prabhupada is saying that oneness means there is no disagreement between Krishna and the Jeev. This is their oneness. There is no, just like, you and I, we are one because we agree on the purpose. Right? Though we in ordinary language also we say like this, yes, we are together, we are one. Right? So we are one. Right? In ordinary language also we say we are one. So meaning that we are agreeing with each other and there is no disunity. They are all agreeable to the purpose of creation. Now, what is the purpose of creation?
जितना मैं समझ पाई मैं परफेक्ट तो नहीं बोल सकती, लेकिन जो मेरी समझ में आया कि ये भौतिक जगत बनाने का भगवान का आशय है कि हम जो भगवान से विमुख होके इधर आए हैं तो वापस हम भगवत धाम जाए और पता चले कि ये भौतिक जगत दुखालय अशाश्वतम है.
Yeah, and in that spiritual creation, what we are going to do?
वहाँ भगवान की सेवा करेंगे हम.
Yeah, purpose of creation is
to serve the Lord,
serve
Krishna.
Right. Serve Krishna. Okay, go on.
According to the statement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, there are two classes of living entities. The Vedas give evidence of this, so there is no doubt about it. The living entities who are struggling in this world with the mind and five senses have their material bodies, which are changing. As long as a living entity is conditioned, his body changes due to the contact with matter. Matter is changing, so the living entity appears to be changing. But in the spiritual world, the body is not made of matter. Therefore, there is no change. In the material, as the living entity undergoes 6 changes: birth, growth, duration, reproduction, then dwindling and vanishing. These are the changes of the material body. But in the spiritual world, the body does not change. There is no old age. There is no birth. There is no death. There all exist in oneness. Karsha Sarvani, Ksharak Sarvani Bhutani. Any living entity who has come in contact with matter, beginning from the first created being Brahma, down to a small ant, is changing its body. Therefore, they are all fallible. In the spiritual world, however, they are always liberated in oneness.
Okay, now this is our hope, right? This is our hope. This paragraph. So there are two classes of living being. The Vedas give evidence of this, so there is no doubt about it. So there are those who are living in this material world and who are struggling with the material bodies, and the body is constantly changing. So matter is changing, so the living entity appears to be changing. So our body is changing, and everybody looking at, oh, what happened to you? You're fat, or you're thin, or you're weak, right? Or you look beautiful now, or what happened to you, right? So body is changing, and therefore the living entity, seem to be changing. But in the spiritual world, the body is not made of matter, and therefore there's no change, ever fresh, ever young. In the material world, the living entity undergoes 6 changes. Everybody knows this. Right now, both of us, we are on the dwindling and vanishing stage.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's like I'm speaking, and like anytime my voice can just vanish because it's going thinner and thinner and thinner. So I don't know when my voice will just vanish. And everybody said, we can't hear you, we can't hear you. We can't hear me because my voice is vanishing. Right? And then, it's like I just forget. There's another story again is happening. Just forget.
But me, Mataji, I'm also forgetting so many
Yeah.
things.
Really, we're just forgetting. So memory
Mhm.
also is going,
Going.
vanishing. Memory card is full. So no more space. Yeah. So they all exist in oneness. Shara Sarvani Bhutani. Any living entity who has come in contact with matter, beginning from the first created being Brahma, down to a small ant, is changing its bodies. What I mean, Brahma also is changing his body. Therefore, they're all fallible. In the spiritual world, however, they're always liberated in oneness, meaning that is their body and themselves is same. Oneness. See how Prabhupada is explaining this. Right. 17. Uttama Purushastvanya Paramatme Syudaharitaha Pratrayam Avishya Vibhartya Vyaya Ishvaraha. Read.
Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them.
Okay,
Purport.
so
Yeah.
now text 16 was speaking of two classes of Jeev. Those who are living in this material world and those who are living in the spiritual world. And the difference between the two. Now, what is this referring to?
Living personalities.
Both
The
are,
Supreme Soul and means Atma or Paramatma.
yes. Okay. All right. Now you can read.
The idea of this verse is very nicely expressed in the Katha Upanishad 2.2.13 and Swatar Upanishad 6.13. It is clearly stated there that above the innumerable living entities, some of whom are conditioned and some of whom are liberated, there is the Supreme Personality who is Paramatma. The Upanishadic verse runs as follows: Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. The purport is that amongst all the living entities, both conditioned and liberated, there is one supreme living personality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who maintains them and gives them all the facility of enjoyment according to different work. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. A wise man who can understand him is eligible to attain perfect peace, not others.
Okay. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. I've discussed that before. So the purport is that among all the living entities, those conditioned and liberated, there is one supreme living personality. This is the Supreme Person Godhead. And what is he doing? He's maintaining us and he's giving us all facilities for enjoyment according to different works. So what are we doing in the spiritual world?
भगवान की सेवा करते हैं हम.
We are enjoying.
स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में हाँ सेवा करते हैं, आनंद का अनुभव करते हैं.
Yeah, we are enjoying in the spiritual world. And we like to do some type of work, Yeah, actually, you know, it's like when you see, you know, the deities, except for me, like, I'm just so attracted by the beauty of the, I mean, the design, the different design. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I want to make all those, you know, the backdrop, the matching, all those, you know, beadwork, embroidery, you know, I think, yeah, you know, we are wasting our time chasing after people, right? They want to stay in this material world, and our whole life is going chasing after them, right? When we could do this, we could just do everything, right? Can paint, and yet, and today I went to Meeranam Temple, just so beautiful, very dainty deities, and their outfit is fabulous. Outfit is simply fabulous. And I was looking at this, I say, you know, we are wasting our time here in this material world, right? So all of us, you know, we can, there's so much work there, right? We can paint, we can do embroidery, we can make the backdrop design, we can do so many things. We can cook, and unlimited varieties we can make, right?
मेरी मम्मी जब लास्ट डेज में थी तो हमेशा बोलती थी कि मेरी मम्मी को कढ़ाई मतलब ड्रेस सब आता था, कटिंग बनाना। हाँ, तो वो मेरे घर पे जब आती थी तो मेरे लड्डू गोपाल के लिए मतलब बैक, आप जैसे बोल रहे थे बैक रोब, फिर छोटे छोटे तकिए, खुद तकिए भी बनाती थी, उसका कवर भी बनाती थी, गद्दी बनाती थी मैं लड्डू गोपाल को बिठाने के लिए, फिर उसका कवर बनाती थी, वो सब हाथ से बनाती थी। तो वो हमेशा बोलती थी मैं भगवान के घर जाऊंगी ना तो मैं भगवान को बोलती हूँ मुझे अपने घर ही बुलाना, मैं आपके लिए ये सारी सेवा करूंगी, मुझे ये आता है।
Yes, that's what we are talking here.
हाँ,
The Supreme Personality person maintains them, and you don't have to worry about your maintenance, that automatically you are well maintained.
yes,
Here we are all worried how we'll maintain. You send the child to school, you have to make sure that he's earning his or her living, right? Because we believe that we have to maintain ourselves. No worry, no worry, no worry. We
yes.
just, here in spiritual world, mean material world also, if we relax and know that Krishna is maintaining us, and he gives us all the facility of enjoyment according to different work. So one girl now, she just applied to work in our office. So I said, where are you working? Such and such place. And then I said, why do you want to live? So how much are you earning there? So she gave me this figure, and I said, but I'm giving you only half salary here. So why do you want to work here? She said, no, I always feel that it is better to work in the temple. Then I said, yes. But you should know when you come in Krishna's office, you have to sit and do the work, right? That's the problem. Right? That's the problem. So we want enjoyment without hardware. So give them all the facility of enjoyment according to different work. Yes, so there is suffering also, right? It's not that it's all nice and happy. No, it is hard work, but it is enjoyable at the end of the time. Krishna makes us happy. Okay, a wise man who can understand him is eligible to attain perfect peace, not others. Meaning those who know that Krishna is maintaining. Text 18. Yasmat ksharam atitoham aksharapi chotamaha Atosmi loke vede cha prathitah purushottamaha. No, where's everybody else? What happened to them?
I
They all
think there
are,
must be for 7:30. They
yeah,
must be forget.
yeah, maybe I'll put it in the group now. It's right today. To focus. Yeah, there's everybody full left. All right, read.
Yes. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. Purpose. No one can surpass the supreme personality of Godhead Krishna, neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul. He is therefore the greatest of personalities. Now it is clear here that the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are individuals. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incorrect to think of the Supreme Lord and the living entities as being on the same level or equal in all respects. There is always the question of superiority and inferiority between their personalities. The word Uttama is very significant. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Loke signifies in the Paurusha Agama, the Smriti scriptures, as confirmed in the Nirukti dictionary, Lokayate Vedartho Nena. The purpose of the Vedas is explained by the Smriti scriptures. The Supreme Lord, in his localized aspect of Paramatma, is also described in the Vedas themselves. The following verse appears in the Vedas, Chandogya Upanishad 8.12.3. Tattvat isa samprasado smacha charirat samudhaya parama jyoti rupam sampadaya swena रूपेण रूपेण अभिनिष्पदयते स उत्तम पुरुषः. The supreme, the super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Then in his form, he remains in his spiritual identity. That supreme is called the supreme personality. This means that the Supreme Personality is exhibiting and diffusing his spiritual effulgence, which is the ultimate illumination. That Supreme Personality also has a localized aspect as Paramatma. By incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati and Parashar, he explains the Vedic knowledge as Vyasadeva.
All right. So now Krishna is saying, because I'm transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, meaning those from this material world and those from the spiritual world. Because I'm the greatest, I'm celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as Purushottamaha, right?
Hmm.
The supreme person. So now Krishna has definitely Yasmat Sharam Atitoham Aksharam Apichotamaha. This is just like so clear that there is a difference between the living being and the Supreme Lord. And I don't know how it's amazing how the Mayavadis make everything become one. And this verse is so clear, just so clear. Atosmin loke Veda cha pratitah Purushottamaha. I'm celebrated, and because I'm the greatest, I'm celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas are the supreme person. So Krishna is saying the Veda, so his Vedas meaning Krishna himself, but Veda meaning the authority, the Shabda Praman, is saying that Krishna is a birth booth. So in the word Loke signifies in the Purusha Agama, the Smriti scriptures. As confirmed in the Nirukti dictionary, Lokyate Vedartha Nina, the purpose of the Vedas is explained by the Smriti scriptures. In the world. So Prabhupada is explaining this word, Atasmi Loke, and it's translated here, Lok means the world, right?
World.
Prabhupada is elaborating on this, that actually this word Loke means what?
Purusha Agama.
What it means, Loke?
Uh, मतलब लोके मतलब ये भौतिक जगत में और स्पिरिचुअल जगत में
No,
नहीं
no. This is here Prabhupada is explaining. The word Loke signifies
in the
Purusha
Purusha
Agama,
Agama.
means Purusha Agama. What is the Purusha Agama? Is the Smriti scripture. What is the meaning of Smriti? What are the Smriti? What is Smriti? Smriti scriptures.
Smriti scriptures means this Bhagavad Gita, Smriti, Ramayana, or
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, they are all Smriti.
And then?
Purans,
Yes.
Puranas.
All right.
Hmm.
The purpose of the Vedas. So Vedas are known as what?
Smriti.
Hmm?
Shruti.
Shruti.
Vedas are Shruti.
Yeah. Vedas of Shruti. What is the meaning of Shruti?
श्रुति मतलब सुन के जो ग्रहण कर लेते थे पहले के जमाने में तो लिखना बुक्स नहीं थी तो जो गुरुजी बोलते थे
Anyway, now let us be. Ved means Shruti. So heard from where? What is the Shruti?
श्रुति मीन्स भगवान की वाणी
Yes.
भगवान ने जो बोला है वो श्रुति
Yeah. And Smriti?
जो लिखा जाता है उनके नहीं स्मृति मतलब
The purpose of the Vedas is explained by the Smriti scriptures.
भगवान को कैसे जाने और भगवान के पास कैसे जाए to know the Krishna Bhagwan.
Smriti scriptures is telling us, so Prabhupada translated as the world, right? Very interesting. Smriti meaning how Krishna is known in the world. So all the examples are given, all the lila, the katha, all this. Smriti. So Prabhupada is, I mean, these are technical things, you know. And matter whether we know or not, so long as we have faith and we understand that Prabhupada is being very specific here. So the word Loke signifies in the Purusha Agama, meaning the Smriti scriptures like the Puranas, the Itihas, right? And Shruti refers to the Upanishads, the Vedas, the Upanishads. Now, Bhagavad Gita, technically, it is an Upanishad, but it is placed in an Itihas, right? So these are technical things that Prabhupada is explaining. Now, the Supreme Lord in his localized aspect of Paramatma is also described in the Vedas themselves. So the following, so this is from Chandogya Upanishad. The super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahman Jyoti. Then in his form, he remains in his spiritual identity. That supreme is called the Supreme Personality. This means that the Supreme Personality is exhibiting and diffusing his spiritual effulgence, which is the ultimate illumination. That Supreme Personality also has a localized aspect as Karma. By incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati and Parashara, he explained the Vedic knowledge as Vyasadeva. So, the super soul, Tavad Esha Samprasado Smach Charira Samuthaya Param Jyoti Rupam Sampadya Shvena Rupena Dhinish Padyate Sa Uttamaha Purusha. The super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahmajyoti. So when the Jeev becomes liberated, all right? When the Jeev becomes liberated, so this super soul enters into the impersonal Brahmajyoti. Because the super soul exists because there is a soul, all right? So the soul of the soul is called the super soul. So when the super soul, it comes out of the body, all right, comes out of the body of the Jeev. So what does he do? He enters the impersonal Brahmajyoti. And what does he do there? In his form, he remains in his spiritual identity. So that super soul remains in the Brahmajyoti in his own spiritual identity as the Paramatma. All right? He's the Paramatma because he's got his work in the material world. Paramatma has no work elsewhere. He has work only because of the material creation. So then when he comes out of the body, he enters the impersonal Brahmajyoti, and then he just remains in his own form, in his spiritual identity. That supreme is called the Supreme Personality. Everybody has to work. Krishna also has to work. We come in this material, he also has to work and come with us. Wherever we are going for him, he has to go. Right? Unending. So that Supreme Personality also has a localized aspect as Paramatma. By incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati and Parashara, he explained the Vedic knowledge as Vyasadeva. So this is all Vedic knowledge, very secret knowledge. All right, yes. 19, we complete today. Mamevamasambudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. Whoever knows me, yes?
You read it.
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Person Godhead, without doubting is the knower of everything. All right? Without doubting, put a condition there. Asamudho, without doubt. Is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service. Sa sarvavid bhajati mam. Oh, son of Bharat. See, for Arjuna to fight this war, all right, he had to trust Krishna. Right? without any doubt, without doubting the horrific things that Krishna made him do. Right? Very, very horrific thing. So it's only that when he had no doubt at all in Krishna, then he could do it. So then he's able to engage himself in full devotional service. Therefore, there are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of the living entities and the supreme absolute truth. Who is who? Now, in this verse, the Supreme Person God had clearly explained that anyone who knows Lord Krishna as the Supreme, yes, Janati Purushottamam, all right, who knows me as the Supreme Personality, is actually the knower of everything. The imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the absolute truth, but the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness. But the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness. The devotional service of the Lord. Throughout the whole of Bhagavad Gita, this fact is being stressed at every step. And still there are so many stubborn commentators in Bhagavad Gita who consider the supreme absolute truth and the living entities to be one and the same. Well, we just read by ourselves. This text 16, 17, 18, right? So clear. And 19 also so clear. But stubborn commentators. Vedic knowledge is called what? Vedic knowledge is called
Shruti.
Shruti. Learning by oral reception. One should actually receive the Vedic message from authorities like Krishna and his representatives. Here, Krishna distinguishes everything very nicely, and one should hear from this source. Simply to hear like the hogs is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Person Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this according to the Supreme Person Godhead, Shri Krishna, knows the purpose of the Vedas. No one else knew the purpose of the Vedas. So Prabhupada is saying, simply to hear like the hogs, oh my God, is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. So different ways of hearing. One way of hearing is just hearing like a hog. I don't know what that means. How hogs hear? Simply to hear like the hogs. I don't know what's. Oh, they say hog, right? Oh yeah, hog. What do? They go on eating anything and everything, right? So meaning some people they go on reading, they're hogging up, information, and they don't actually hear from authorities. Anyway, I think that's what it means. Simply to hear like the hogs is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities. My God, this is so much true, so much true. You have volumes and volumes of books, reading, and you don't want to accept any authority. You say, I'm going to understand by myself. Everybody's writing books, God. Oh my God. Yeah, I can very much understand this. So one should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should see, Prabhupada is saying earlier that the commentators are stubborn. They're stubborn. And here Prabhupada is saying, no, you need to hear submissively. And accept that the living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this according to the Supreme Person of Godhead, Shri Krishna, knows the purpose of the Vedas. No one else knew the purpose of the Vedas. What's the use of reading so many books and coming to the conclusion that I and God, we are one and the same? What's the use? Right? The word bhajati is very significant. In many places, the word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service of the Supreme Lord. Yeah, bhajati. Bhajan. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness, in the devotional service of the Lord, it is to be understood that he has understood all the Vedic knowledge. So what's the use of reading books and you do no seva? You do nothing, You will not like that. You go on reading, what am I? I'm a philosopher. My life is only philosophy. Reading here and there, but no service. No work, no service. My God. In the Vaishnav Parampara, it is said that if one is engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, then there is no need for any other spiritual process for understanding the supreme absolute truth. He has already come to the point because he's engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He has ended all preliminary processes of understanding. But if anyone, after speculating for hundreds of thousands of lives, doesn't come to the point that Krishna is the Supreme Person of Godhead, and that one has to surrender there, all his speculation for so many years and lives is a useless waste of time. Meaning that even though, you don't read millions of books, but you are doing seva for Krishna, meaning that you have already studied, he has entered all preliminary processes of understanding. He's come to the correct conclusion. He's simple. He's simply submissive, whereas the stubborn speculators, they are still looking, research, what is this world, what I am, what is there anyone superior to me, right? They're still sitting, speculating, sitting in colleges, in universities and writing books. Very good. So lucky are those who are submissive and just accept that. We are always subordinate to the Supreme Person of the Godhead. We are so lucky. All right. We'll stop here. We'll stop here. And this last
next
verse. Next week, it's long. Okay, let's read it. Iti guhyatamam shastam idam uktam maya nagha etad budvam budhimam syat vitapitascha bharata. Read?
Yes. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Purport. The Lord clearly explains here that this is the substance of all revealed scriptures, and one should understand this as it is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, one will become intelligent and perfect in transcendental knowledge. In other words, by understanding this philosophy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engaging in his transcendental service, everyone can become freed from all contaminations of the modes of material nature. Devotional service is the process of spiritual understanding. Whenever devotional service exists, Wherever devotional service exists, the material contamination cannot coexist. Devotional service to the Lord and the Lord Himself are one and the same because they are spiritual. Devotional service takes place within the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord is said to be the sun, and ignorance is called darkness. Where the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Therefore, whenever devotional service is present, under the proper guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, there is no question of ignorance. Everyone must take to this consciousness of Krishna and engage in devotional service to become intelligent and purified. Unless one comes to this position of understanding Krishna and engages in devotional service, however intelligent he may be, in the estimation of some common men, he is not perfectly intelligent. The word anagha, by which Arjuna is addressed, is significant. Anagha, O sinless one, means that unless one is free from all sinful reactions, it is very difficult to understand Krishna. One has to become free from all contamination, all sinful activities, then he can understand. But devotional service is so pure and potent that once one is engaged in devotional service, he automatically comes to the stage of sinlessness. While one is performing devotional service in the association of pure devotees in full Krishna consciousness, there are certain things which require to be vanquished altogether. The most important thing one has to surmount is weakness of the heart. The first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over material nature. Thus, one gives up the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. The second weakness of the heart is that as one increases the propensity to lord it over material nature, it becomes attached to the material and the possession of matter. The problems of material existence are due to these weaknesses of the heart. In this chapter, the first 5 verses describe the process of freeing oneself from these weaknesses of heart, and the rest of the chapter, from the 6th verse through the end, discusses Purushottam Yoga. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Purushottam Yoga, the Yoga of Supreme Person.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is describing, giving a summary of this chapter. So main problem is that we're contaminated with the laws of materialization. Here Prabhupada is saying that there is a weakness of the heart, Hridaya Daurbalya. There is a weakness of the heart. What is that weakness of the heart?
One increase the propensity, हम भगवान से ऊपर ऐसा सोचते हैं, भगवान की बराबरी करना चाहते हैं, अपने आप को सुप्रीम मानते हैं और हमारी चीज.
Just read what Prabhupada said.
The second weakness of that is the first fall down is caused by desire to lord it over material nature. हमारी भौतिक इच्छा है.
Yeah, we want. There's a weak. Suddenly, we want to be a master of this world.
This world.
All right. the desire to be a master. That's why we find people just working. They actually want to lord it over matter. Then what happens? Second, and therefore they stop serving Krishna. They don't want to serve Krishna. Right? So second, what happens?
Problems of material existence are these weakness of heart. He becomes attached to the matter.
So the more we engage in trying to lord it over matter, the more we become attached to the material nature, and we become attached to possessing material things. That's what happened. First comes the ichha, the desire. I want to do it. All right. And then it's the process. So you give up, you stop serving Krishna, you give up Krishna. You just give up Krishna, even though Krishna is right there in your hand. Right? You give up. You don't want him because you have other things you want to exploit this world. So we give up Krishna. And the more we are successful in our material life, the more we become attached to these things and we want to possess more and more. This is the horror of this material world. The problems of material existence are due to these weaknesses of the heart. So whatever, any problem anybody has, doesn't matter who you are. Any problem anybody has is because of these two weaknesses. So okay, my child is doing this, my wife is doing this, my husband is doing it, my boss is doing this, my servant is doing this. Everywhere the shopkeeper is doing this, the government is doing. Everybody has one problem only. Everybody wants to lord it over matter. All right. Everybody wants to be that one Lord and discard Krishna. That's the problem. So the process to free oneself from these tendencies is given from verse 1 to 5. So what we should do, text 3 to 4. So Krishna says, with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with a weapon of detachment. So what should we do? Thereafter, one must seek that place from which having gone, one never returns and they surrender to that Supreme Person Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. All right, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
So today it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.